Hi again, class. So this is the lecture on the ones who walk away from Omelas, and you're going to see me glancing to the right because that's where my notes are on the story. But I just wanted to give you some things to think about while you're reading the story, particularly your feelings at the beginning of the story versus the end. It's pretty short, it's like 4 or 5 pages, but it really helps introduce the themes of this class. And it really gets you to think about your own positionalities in the world where we live. And your discussion question is based off of it this week, so I encourage you to read it a couple of times over to really understand the plot and your feelings regarding it. So the first thing I want you to think about is the narrator and you. So the narrator uses second person to invite readers to imagine whatever details would make the city seem happiest to them. So think about what would make the city happiest to you. Guin includes sexual and drug-related recommendations if the city seems too goody-goody, but also consider things like religion, who would be there, what the people in the city look like, clothing choices, food choices, schedules, schools, politics, economics, all that sort of stuff, the kinds of things that build our world today. So what would those areas of life look like in your happiest, perfect city? At the end of the story, you'll find out why the city is so happy, how they get all that happiness. And think about what that means for your own construction of the city. How would that come about for you? And what implications would there be on the people in your city and what they look like, knowing how the city became happy? This will all make more sense after you read it too. The second thing I want you to think about is guilt. The narrator mentions that the one thing, quote, there is none of in Omelas is guilt. So that means there's no guilt in Omelas, right? Well, you might think this means that they don't have anything to be guilty about. Reconsider this at the end of the story. So what do you think this tells you about the residents of the town, that they have no guilt? What do you think their positionalities are? Look at week 1 vocab list. It defines positionalities if you don't know what that means. And what do you think their personalities are like? So there is no guilt in Omelas despite what you're going to learn at the end of the story. So think about what that means about the characters, who they are, where they come from, where they're situated, and how they look at the world. And finally, think about who the people are that walk away. What are they like? And how are they different from the people who stay? So I want you to compare in your mind. The author leaves it really open, so you have to think about this yourself. How the people who stay are different from the ones who walk away. And that's what I want you to think about.